Hi folks, I'm talking to you about a new house. This is another house overview video for you, discovering new fragrances on the channel, new brands, and potentially new scents you want to get your nose on. We're talking about a brand called Binet-Papillon today. And we actually featured one of their fragrances a little over a year ago in a mystery box. It's number 21 called Magnolia Underground. And today I'm going to be talking to you about 11 of their fragrances. And then I'm going to do a ranked list as well. So find out about this house coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Sebastian talking to you about Binet-Papillon fragrances. Let me know if you're familiar with the brand. Let me know if you got your nose on number 21, Magnolia Underground. It's a magnolia / coffee fragrance with musk. It's milky, slightly fruity, and musky as well, of course, with the coffee. But they have a ton of fragrances, and the numbering is a little off. They're numbered, but some of the numbers between them are missing. So I only have several of their fragrances that I'm going to go over today with you. And this might be a longer than normal video, but we're going to get the fragrances out of the way as soon as possible. So we're going to get started with the number one fragrance. This is Alchemist Pepper. So when I'm saying number one, this is the numbering they have given the fragrances. It's not my numbering. Once I go over all of the fragrances, there's 11 fragrances in the video. I'm going to tell you a breakdown of what my number one favorite fragrance is and so on. So this is Alchemist Pepper, and it features notes of Petitgrain, Elemi resin, Vetiver, pepper, violets, Cistus, Styrax, Patchouli, and Cade. So this one actually is very prominent with the Elemi resin. So Elemi resin is a bit citrusy, smoky, peppery, spicy, and also a bit pine-like effect in the note. So it comes off very smoky to me, very woody, and also ambery with a citrus edge in the fragrance. This is not my favorite fragrance in the collection, but I'm starting it off here. But those of you that want to get your nose on Elemi fragrances might want to try this because the Elemi is quite prominent here. You'll understand what Elemi resin smells like. It's really amplified, but there are other touches here. For sure, Vetiver, it's very, very earthy, woody. And then they've thrown in pepper as well to amplify the Elemi's pepperiness. Of course, they also have that Petitgrain, which is the leaves of the bitter orange tree. So there's a slight citrusy edge amplified in there as well. It's quite powdery when you wear it, but it might be an acquired taste. There's smoky touches here as well, especially since they also have Cade in the notes. But when you smell this, you really pick up a green citrusy edge, also very smoky and spicy peppery, but also, you know, all the woods and everything in the fragrance as well. There's definitely an ambery effect happening in the fragrance, but this is the first fragrance I'm talking about. This is Alchemist Pepper from the house of Binet-Papillon. Look at the back of the bottle. And if you're in Paris or you're visiting Paris, definitely go to their store. It's in a beautiful gallery, and they have a cute little store. They can actually put the fragrance together for you. If you want to know a little bit more about the brand as well, the fragrances are all sold at Ministry of Scent in San Francisco. So if you are nearby, you can stop in and get your nose on these fragrances. But I also have links in the info box for them. So this next one is number 2. It's an amber fragrance. This features notes of amber, musk, patchouli, sandalwood, licorice, and bergamot. This is definitely one of my favorites. And what I'm going to do at the end of the video is give you probably like 7 of my favorites out of the 11. Just going to go through them and tell you a little bit of why. But I'm a fan of amber fragrances. This is not my all-time favorite in the collection here, but it's definitely a solid amber fragrance with earthy notes of patchouli and of course the licorice that comes in as well. This one to me, I like the usage of licorice in the fragrance. I haven't experienced licorice with an amber fragrance before, which is quite nice. I've always experienced something like vanilla, of course patchouli, but the licorice adds this kind of unique green spicy edge to the amber, mostly amber fragrance here. Definitely one of my favorites, but not a top favorite. And let me tell you a little bit more about number 2. You'll notice the amber, but what happens with the licorice, it adds a brightness up top because that's what it's starting with. But eventually the amber blends nicely with the patchouli and the sandalwood. And of course, there's the musk in the base as well. Along the way, there's some freshness from the bergamot. For me, it's dry. It's not necessarily very syrupy and also very powdery and spicy. So that is number 2, their amber. The juice color is so cool compared to the first one we did. So next one is the cologne in the collection, and this is number 3. So it's a lighter color juice because the notes in here are all light, whereas amber typically takes on a darker note, and of course patchouli as well. So the juice gets darker. So this is a very fresh, bright, effervescent, uplifting fragrance in a slightly classic way of doing these kind of fragrances, featuring notes of bergamot, mandarin, musk, cypress, lavender, and elderberry. So this is like the fragrance you would spritz on after a clean shower. It's really, really invigorating, refreshing, and as I said, it's effervescent and really wakes up your senses. Perhaps a morning fragrance. You want something bright to hit your nose and, to lift your spirits up and then for you to wake up a little bit. So I like that it's extremely fresh and also invigorating, as I said. And this one goes down pretty easy because it is called a cologne. And even though the concentration might not be a traditional eau de cologne concentration, it is very refreshing and easy to wear. Especially if you like citruses, this one's perfect for that. I like this one quite a bit. It's definitely very musky. It's powdery once again, but along the way you have herbal touches. You really pick up the cypress note. The cypress is pretty prominent in here. It adds a green aromatic layer to it, along with the lavender is in here as well. So it's mostly a lot of citruses, the musk, and the aromatic notes of the cypress and lavender. I think easy to wear fragrance. Then we're going to the 6th fragrance in the collection. This is their leather. So this one has notes of coriander, leather, tuberose, fig, oud, black pepper, vanilla, and prickly pear. I have to say I took the notes down from the brand's website. Some of the descriptions were a little confusing because this one spoke about in the description figs, but it wasn't written down in the notes breakdown. But they missed in the notes breakdown. They're listing prickly pear. So I was a bit confused. I actually really like this fragrance. It's listed as one of my 7 favorites from the 11 I'm speaking about. I can't remember what the where it landed from the 7, but it's a great smelling leather. I think it's a little classic leaning. It's a little bit also like makeup. It has a bit of a makeup smelling vibe, but very, very leathery for sure. It's a leather that's kind of smoky and charred, not a leather like Tom Ford's, ombre leather or something like Tuscan leather. Nothing like Chanel's leather as well. It's not that kind, but I feel like there's a greenness about it, and it's most likely from that fig note that they're saying that's in here. And they're saying prickly pear. I'm not getting much of a fruitiness if there is. It's a very creamy layer of tuberose in here, giving you like a creamy, milky effect because it's the tuberose, because I get kind of a milky creaminess from white floral notes like tuberose, but it creates for a green leather experience with a creamy undertone. I like this one. That's 6 from the house of Binet-Papillon. Let me know if you've sampled these fragrances. Add a comment below. So this next one's one of my all-time favorite fragrances from this house. This is number 7. It's rose focused, rose impoli. But what they've done here is started out with a very zingy, spicy, citrusy freshness, developing into rose, developing into myrrh, resinous, and ambery in the dry down. This actually reminds me of something, and I can't pinpoint what it is. But I really like the way the fragrance is composed. I like the ambery effect, the resinous effect in the dry down with the myrrh note and the brightness and the spicy zinginess from the yuzu. And the rose is just not necessarily a jammy rose. It's kind of a dry rose, but a bit on the green side. I really love the way this one smells. It's not my number 1, but I think it's my number 2. But there's something familiar about this, and I cannot, for the life of me, pinpoint what it is. Maybe I smelled this fragrance with the brand's previous rendition of the fragrance. I can't remember much about the brand previously, and I think they've combined 2 brands to create one brand is what I've read and heard. But this one's delicious. This actually kind of reminds me a bit of a Guerlain-esque fragrance for some strange reason also. I don't know why. But I like the myrrh note is providing a slight smoky fizziness to this fragrance as well next to the rose. It's a really great one. Number 7 is definitely a favorite of mine. And number 7 is the first one I actually tested from this house, so maybe that's also a reason why I really love it. But next one is also one of my favorites. This is number 8, Myrrh Blood Drop. So Myrrh Blood Drop, and we're going from a myrrh-focused fragrance with the rose at number 7, and this is also a myrrh-focused fragrance. This has notes of tangerine, oud wood, myrrh, patchouli, incense, saffron. Although it kind of just reminds me of what's YSL's mass market oud fragrance. It kind of reminds me of that, but more of an indie niche take on a fragrance like that. M7, that's what it is. M7, it kind of reminds me of M7, but not quite identical, just hints at it. They had an oud with, I believe, myrrh and also not tangerine, but orange. So that combination is kind of familiar here with Myrrh Blood Drop. So if you haven't tried this, please do, especially if you like oud and if you like kind of a, I don't know, I guess a citrusy take on oud. The oud wood has a bit of a musty effect, like an old library, but the myrrh adds that kind of resinous fizziness here. The tangerine is quite potent and juicy, and there's some earthy, smoky touches in there, and of course a little leatheriness as well coming in. But it's beautifully composed, definitely one of my favorites from the house. I mean, we started out with some of the ones that I didn't really care for from the house. Now we're in a section of fragrances that I really, really like. This is definitely top-notch, and I really like the fact that there's a familiar smell about it. It reminds me of the M7 from YSL, but not identical. It's not a dupe or anything. It's just kind of familiar. So up next is my favorite fragrance from the line. It's number 9, Patchouli Monarch. So the patchouli lover goes with the patchouli as my number 1, but it's a toss-up between the Rose Empoli, which has the myrrh in it, and this. These two are my first 2 fragrances I discovered from the house. Really great fragrances for me. This one has notes of patchouli, amber, vetiver, immortelle, labdanum, and heliotrope. It's warm, woody, spicy, earthy for sure. There's a bit of an almondy effect happening from the heliotrope. There's a kind of an antique woody experience in here as well, but also the immortelle is providing a little bit of a caramel brown sugar effect in here. Kind of dry and herbal, but just a great combination of ambery notes with my favorite note, patchouli. So earthy, so sexy, really, really gorgeous. You'll be reminded of fragrances like Psychedelique, Lenerites, Patchouli Antique, Reminiscence Patchouli, and so on and so on. So it's kind of in that ballpark. So you've got a bit of a chocolate cakey effect happening here with the notes that are combined with the patchouli. It creates a kind of a chocolate cakey effect. It doesn't smell like chocolate cake, but gives you the idea of a chocolate cake. Maybe I can also say carob. I don't know if you guys know of this ingredient called carob, but it kind of gives me that kind of an effect. But number 9, patchouli, is definitely my favorite from this house. Sadly, we're going to a section of not my favorite fragrances next, but we've got Amiral Royal. This one actually is okay. It's not my least favorite. The next one after that is my least. Have to look at the list later. But this Amiral Royal is birch, vetiver, incense, bergamot, cardamom, and lavender. Let me know if you're familiar with this one. So there's a slight smokiness here, very woody, aromatic, and spicy as well. I think it's freshened up with the bergamot note. I think this one acts a bit like the number 3, which is kind of like a cologne. But if you just don't want to go with something that fresh and mostly fresh notes and musky notes, you want something a bit more complexity, you go here, because the smokiness, the woodiness, and the spices kind of give it a bit more depth, but it's surrounded with a lot of juicy citruses. So this is not my least favorite. It's kind of up there, though. The next one after this is my least favorite. But yeah, 11 is Amiral Royal. Yeah, this next one is my least favorite, unfortunately. I'm telling you right now, but I'll give you the rundown in a bit. This is Kombawa Cloudless. This is number 12. Kombawa referring to Kefir lime. So it's citrusy once again. It's citruses. I guess it's Kombawa citrus, hyacinth, musk, Gaiac wood, jasmine, and incense. This one just didn't click with me, unfortunately. I just felt like it was kind of a dud. I wanted the hyacinth to be more prominent. I didn't get much of it. It just came off a bit boring and not necessarily exciting. And unfortunately, it didn't do it for me. I feel like it hasn't come together very well. I don't know, maybe it's the Kombawa note. I just wanted more prominence with the hyacinth. I feel like it's kind of hidden. Something is covering it up, and it's just not my favorite fragrance. So you know now, 12 is my least favorite from the line, but this next one's a solid release. Tobacco lovers are going to love this. This is number 15, Jungle Tobacco. It's cardamom, tonka beans, heliotrope, blonde tobacco, oud, and iris. Definitely a really great, even though they're not using vanilla here, there's a bit of a vanillic touch, but also smoky. So there's something almost like the smoke in Acro's Smoke is in here. But behind that, there's a reminder of a tobacco fragrance. I'm kind of forgetting what it is, but giving me that kind of a vibe with Acro's smokiness. But once again, it's dry, not syrupy whatsoever. I feel like the line is all very dry. There's not powdery comes to mind. But this number 15, Jungle Tobacco, I love the name, by the way, is definitely up there. This does also, the line seems very indie artisanal. It's not necessarily, these are original fragrances, so they're not going to smell like dupes or anything that reminds you of something that's mass marketed, so the brand goes and makes its own version of it, kind of a fragrance. But the Jungle Tobacco is really awesome. Hopefully you guys get your nose on it. It's definitely one of their best. And last but not least, it's number 21, Magnolia Underground, which I believe is still their latest release. This one, as I was mentioning earlier, was featured in a mystery box in the November 2023 mystery box. And I really like the way this one smells. Definitely one of my favorites. This is Magnolia's Coffee Grand Cru, or Coffee Grand Cru, or Cafe, or whatever, and then also Milky Musk. So the Magnolia is providing a creamy effect in here, and also slightly fruity. Against the coffee, you've got that kind of gourmand edge with it. And there's Milky Musk mentioned here. So it's musky and also milky. And with the creamy milkiness of the Magnolia, you've got an overdose of a very smooth, kind of a gourmand floral fragrance. Maybe slight smoky as well, but not too much. It's gorgeous. Really love this one. This is not necessarily uber strong with the coffee. I feel like the Magnolia and Milk, or Milky Musk, are the stars here. And the coffee are just drips of it. At least on my skin and on the strip, that's not what I get. I get less coffee, but some of you might get more coffee. For me, it's not a really strong coffee note. So those are my thoughts on these 11 Binet-Papillon fragrances. And let me tell you the rundown. So number 9, Patchouli Monarch is my favorite. I absolutely love that. It smells so good. So number 2 place, this is 7, Rose Empoli. I really love that kind of a fizzy rose and myrrh combo with that kind of zesty, zingy start of the yuzu in that fragrance. So number 3 is Jungle Tobacco. As I told you, I really love that one. And number 4 is Magnolia Underground. So it's the 21 numbered fragrance. 5th place, it's number 8, Myrrh Blood Drop. Really a great take on an oud that reminds me of M7 a little bit. 6 is in the 6th spot, actually, come to think of it. The 7th fragrance is number 2, the Amber. I didn't rank the rest of them. I just wanted to give you a selection of my favorites. And I hope you guys get to try these fragrances. As I said, if you're local to San Francisco, you can go to Ministry of Scent and smell them there and sample them. They carry the line, or you can always order from the brand and they'll send you samples. I think they sell samples, but anyway, see where you want to check out. If you're in Paris, I highly recommend you visit their store, or if you're visiting Paris, you should go. It's in a really beautiful gallery. And their store is cute. In fact, on the channel, I have a little story about them. Not a story, but a short. So go catch that little story, like that short video that I've shot. And they were putting together a bottle for me. And you get to see the associate, capping the bottle and filling the juice and all that good stuff. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video on Binet-Papillon fragrances. Let me know your thoughts on this line. Have you come across these fragrances? Do you have a favorite? Do add a comment below. Otherwise, please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.